Welcome to Show Me Yours with Jackie and Jonny, everybody.
I'm Jackie.
My name is Jonny. This is the show where friends are sharing music with each other. It's sort of a music podcast. We'll see how far we get into it.
The intention is for it to be a music podcast.
Hey, it's going to be a lot of things, all right? There's a lot of people's girlfriends in there. Today, we're starting the first of many iterations of this podcast. I think we've tried to do a few different ones. Hopefully, this is the one that works.
Yeah.
I think not going so in depth into a track by track thing because we don't need a podcast with homework, and let's get serious. Some of those episodes were fucking snoozers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. No, she doesn't. Oh, and my computer just died on me, so we're gonna freestyle it right live.
Okay.
We're already having technical difficulties.
This is good.
No, it's awesome.
You
But
improvise.
yeah. Well, this week on Show Me Yours is my I have the luxury and the opportunity to share my record with Jackie this weekend. As you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing Operation Ivy's Energy. I think it's very exciting. It's very exciting for me because this is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's going to be interesting for any listener out there that's never heard of Operation Ivy, because if you're going to get into like ska core at 30 years old, then you got other issues in your life. But I still highly recommend and highly implore anybody out there that's going to listen to this to check this album out if you haven't already. It's
If you do want homework.
if you
It's
do want the
there.
homework, you can do it. You can do it, or you can just listen
You
to
don't
us
have
bullshit
to,
back
but
and
it
forth.
will enhance the experience.
Or you're more than welcome to just sit there and listen to us bullshit back and forth. Either way, it's going to be a delightful experience for you, I promise. But Operation Ivy is a band from the Bay Area in California that came around in 1987. See, I could do this thing totally off fucking book. I don't need any notes from the internet to tell you
It's in here.
about this album, because it is. It really is in here. I think I heard this album for the first time when I was probably 12 years old. Right around that time, I think I went to the Warped Tour for my first big festival kind of experience with multiple bands and things like that. So at 12 years old, watching Rancid was actually on the bill. I think you can go back and Google and confirm those dates, 2002, 2003. But Rancid, Dropkick Murphys, Less Than Jake, and all these Suicide Machines and all these other bands. So like punk rock was like so well, defined under this like massive umbrella of, there's like Celtic stuff over here for, your Dropkick Murphys guys, and there's like hardcore stuff over here, and then even different umbrellas of that, right? Mm-hmm. With ska, it can really be hit or miss. I mean, mostly hit for me. I am a big ska fan. I fucking love this style of music. If you're going to go on the internet or talk to any music historian, then you're going to see that Operation Ivy really started like this third wave of ska. From the beginning, I mean, it's coming out of, like Jamaican kind of dance hall roots and stuff like that. Going forward in through like the 60s and 70s, kind of getting like Americanized and coming to England and stuff and blowing up, right? But when Operation Ivy came out of the Bay Area with this record that if it was any other band that sounded, this shit, it wouldn't work. You know what I mean, right? Whoever, it really does. It's poor record quality of recording. You know what I mean? It is fucking raw.
Yeah.
I think that's what you can say, right? Like it doesn't sound like shit. But I'm not gonna lie to you. When I heard it for the first time when I'm like 12 years old, you'd have to go back to like 88. This comes out 2 years before I'm even born.
Right.
Right. But everybody in my community is like there's something about this record that's that's definitely different, right? It's genre defying. Every band that I like that has like some horns or some upstroke in it or whatever, right? Really cites this band as being the one. So I remember kind of getting into it and going like, well, this is interesting. I'm just a kid, right? Like, so my ears aren't necessarily there. And it went from kind of being completely ignorant to, listening to bands like Less Than Jake and things like that were so polished at the time and so much fun. Because I'm a kid, right? I'm 12 years old. I just kind of want to dance and, yell at my principal and tell my mom that she's stupid or something, right? But, so when you get this, now, like, holy shit, these guys are singing songs about the world, right? And then... shit, damn near 20 years later, I'm still listening to, the album and get to bring you a deceptively simple and incredibly profound record. That's all I'm going to wax poetic on it for now. Jackie, what do you think about this album?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was fun. I mean, I don't know a lot about ska. So I probably couldn't differentiate between different ska bands.
Between like a wave and things like that, you're going to be like, I'm more of a second wave kind of girl,
Yeah, or differences between two different ska bands.
Oh my god. Even after listening to this is not the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Like, I'll fucking tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously I can tell a difference between.
Yeah, of course.
But like, I don't know. Like, I don't know a lot about ska and like the whole culture surrounding it, but I do think it's fun. I've never disliked it.
Is it weird when you see somebody that, like, I mean, Sublime is probably like a quintessential ska band, or well, they definitely have some elements there, but like that's the easiest band for anybody to hate on,
right?
In whatever way, like
I
for
don't
some
hate
reason
Sublime.
when you're in high school and you're smoking weed, we're from British Columbia,
Yeah, exactly.
so like let's get the record straight here. We're pro Sublime.
Yeah,
on Show Be Yours. But they're just one of those bands that I find, you know, like a music snob, they're quick to shit on. Right, and for whatever reason, Operation Ivy is definitely like exempt from that. I think we take that. What was I saying last night? I was saying that I think it's like an underrated album in like the sense of like the rest of the world, but so overstated in the community of punk rock. Like we fucking get it. It's a good record. So that's why I decided to do the first episode on it.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it though. I thought it was fun. I thought there was a lot of variety in it. Obviously, a lot of very short songs. It was funny when I looked at the track listing. I was like, all right, I'm gonna be here for a while.
Yeah, 27 songs on the on the actual album. Now, let's get this straight. If anybody's gonna go and pick this record up, this version that you see here is Energy. It's the original, I think, 16 songs or something like that that they've just put out as a full length. The one that you're gonna find now, I think most places is a compilation. Basically it's all black and it just has the the guy coming through, and you get like, that's the one to find. Anybody that's gonna buy this album is get the longer version. It's the discography, so it's the
one that's on Spotify.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's so it basically has Energy and a 7-inch that they did, and then I think a few other demos and stuff at the end. And I love listening to this record. It's fantastic. It's great when it's quick, but if you're gonna fucking go for it, you go all the way. The band was only around for fucking 3 years. Do yourself a favor and get all the songs. Yeah.
An extra 10 songs won't kill you.
Yeah, and even when you add the 10 songs, it only gets the album to 50 minutes.
Yeah,
like, it's fucking not. This isn't gonna take a lot of time out of your day.
Yeah.
Right, but I think it's going to enrich your life immensely, as it has mine. It's one of those albums, like, from start, like, if you put the needle on the record of this album and go from knowledge right into sound system, like, and you're going to tell me that we're not going to at least see this through, right? Then you don't like music and you're kind of an asshole. Like, I feel like if you can't implore me, well, I mean, let's not go that far. I don't know, but if you're asking for music recommendations and this one doesn't, really like soothe the taste buds or something like that, then I would be, I'd be remiss to hang out with you again. So no pressure, but
I wish ill upon you and your family.
Yeah, I won't stand for this kind of aggression with what might be, well, definitely like the building blocks to like culture and music and stuff like that, as I know, because not only is it a great album front to back, it's like the ethos and the I don't know, I guess you'd call it like the spirit behind it is something that I still like, that's carried through to where we're sitting at now. Is, go low budget, make it yourself, fuck everything else, and do your best to, try to tell the truth or be as true to yourself as possible. And not the best track on this album by any means, but the one that kind of like really brings the whole thing together is Unity. You know what I mean? Is that kind of the through line to this whole thing is, very young actually, and pretty bright kids as far as like songwriting and and lyrics and stuff are concerned.
Do you know how old they were?
I'm gonna take a shot in the dark. I mean, well, we have the computer right here. I mean, it did shut down on me.
I thought we didn't.
Well, okay, well, we can open it up, but I'm not exactly sure. But I mean, if I would venture to say, these kids are like maybe 20 years old at the time, right? Maybe even younger. And actually, I didn't mention the members of the band. Actually, from lead vocals, you have Jesse Michaels, who, I mean, speaks for himself on this record. He only did a few other albums, you know what I mean? So very, like, you know, low output as far as music is concerned in this industry, but Jesus Christ, everything he did was so goddamn good. There's some vocal performances on this record that you're not really expecting. You know what I mean? From is it drinking the Badlands? You know what I mean? and then he's fucking really screaming there too, right?
Yeah,
like when he goes, when he really goes into this thing, like it's one of the best vocal performances that I think still stands out, and I think the reason that the record is so raw just speaks to that even more. You know what I mean, right? There's something visceral about this goddamn thing, and I think Jesse Michaels with his songwriting and, you know, vocal performance on this thing, like, I can't speak highly enough about that man, so let's put an end on that. On guitar, you have Lint. He was calling himself at that time.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows punk rock knows that that is actually Tim Armstrong from the band Rancid. Again, you can't have anybody that's just not, like, kind of built to strum that ska. I think they were calling him like Ska King or something crazy like that at the time. Like he was just like that, you know, driving force in what was basically a 3-piece band, right? Where you have on bass Matt Freeman, who's also from Rancid fame. Who, if you know, I mean, we hung out last night and you saw a lot. I played you a lot of videos, so you know that Matt Freeman is one of the baddest motherfuckers alive with a bass guitar in his hands, right? Yeah. And then I believe David Mello on drums, who. I believe still actually plays in bands. I think
last name Mello?
Last name Mello. I mean, I'm just going off script here because this fucking thing is broken, but I had all my notes and now we're going to shit. But you know what I mean? Just that 4-piece together for maybe, you know, a little over 2 years. And that goddamn impact that, you know, was left and, you know, sent shockwaves to a kid in his apartment telling his friend about.
I can't imagine having like anything worthwhile to say at 20 years old. Like when you see artists like that put out really meaningful work and have like a lot of like clarity to their thoughts and stuff.
It's incredible. I mean, Tupac and Biggie, we were watching. Congratulations to Notorious B.I.G. Just got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame today. Along with 9 Inch Nails.
Congratulations to Depeche Mode.
Fuck off, Depeche Mode. I got nothing against you as a band. I'm not trying to hear that shit. That being said, any future guest of the show that wants to come on, bring Depeche. Yeah, we don't say no to records on this show.
We'll go into the Depeche Mode.
Yeah, we'll go into Depeche Mode. if you turn the dial on my own. But it's pretty crazy when you see that. I'm just glad that they didn't have to die, unfortunately, like you know, like Tupac and Biggie did. You know what I mean? For us to really like appreciate the genius. Unfortunately, that's kind of, you know, everything kind of gets opened up and dissected years later and stuff like that. And this thing has just managed to stand the test of time. And I couldn't imagine the amount of, you know, festivals and people that have thrown money at these guys to try to get them just to do one fucking show. I mean, Riot Fest and Punk Rock Bowling and all of these, you know, fantastic festivals that, I mean, they got the Misfits back together. Right. You know what I mean? Like the Misfits who have been steeped in court battles and public fucking drama for like the past 30 years over like the use of their logo and who's getting paid for it and blah 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 blah, and they haven't made a good record since Walk Among Us anyway, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But you know, when they come back and they're and they got them to do 30, like, you know, 20 Eyes in my fucking head live, like I had to miss that show. My little sister went down to Seattle to see it, but like how goddamn cool is that like it can be done. But I think like it just kind of speaks to the ethos that when Jesse Michaels and Tim Armstrong have both mentioned, like, hey, we did that. We're very proud of this record, but you know, they're not interested in a payday 20 years later just to go and sing those songs. I hope that that's wrong. I hope that after COVID, everything fucking opens up and Operation Ivy like headlines Riot Fest or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there is something to be
said. But I think
said
it's wishful thinking
about people who sort of. You know, whether it be a band or some, you know, project or a TV show or something like that, when you just, you know, do one thing for a small amount of time and then when you close the door on it, you just don't go back to it.
I think that's important. Like, there's so many things. If you
going back and sort of ruining something that should just stay as it was.
I mean, you can only strike lightning in a bottle. Like, if you know, you're only going to get that a few times. Like Rush Hour 2 Rush Hour 3. No decline. You know
In
what I mean?
quality,
In quality.
yeah.
No, across the board, right?
Yeah.
But I would be really curious to see if like what the world would be like without Rancid and with Operation Ivy, as like that was the kind of the driving force, and if Hellcat Records would have so many people on their roster with stupid haircuts. But that's not, I don't know, it's not a stupid haircut. It's not, I think it's a fucking rad haircut. I just don't think I could do it. It's straightforward and up. If they give it to you when you buy a stand-up bass.
Yeah.
There's a barber at the the stand-up bass shop.
The haircut we're talking about, it angles forward as though there is a gust of wind coming from behind you at all times.
When everybody's just playing on the bass and like you're. I picture a hurricane. Gargoyles. Yeah. And I'm not hating on them. I like.
No.
And if anybody was wondering, Tiger Army always was, always has, and always will be a psychobilly band. That's a little off topic, but if any of you guys want to go and watch the Hellcat Records DVD that came out in I think 2004, 2005, it's with the Indestructible album, I think, with Rancid, and we were going to film this episode last night. Didn't get into it. Had a few technical difficulties. And then we just got drunk and watched punk rock videos instead. And did that give you a little bit of context or like a little bit of, like a peek behind the curtain at what the hell I've been into for?
From what I remember.
Yeah, we did get a little bit loose. We did get a little bit loose. But... Well, actually, another thing that I was thinking about this band, Operation Ivy, is like they took the name after... a government weapons testing program, like nuclear testing from the 1950s, I believe 1952. Now, do you think that this is going to go so goddamn off topic?
Please.
But I'm not a musician. I mean, we're going to get into it. Anybody? Check this fucking record out.
Yeah.
But as we dive a little bit deeper into like a nuclear weapons testing thing, I've been fascinated on the UFO documents and stuff like that they're supposed to be releasing.
Yes.
Coming out. I don't think it's going to be anything like mind-boggling or anything like that.
No, I don't think so either.
But do you know anything about the story of right around 1950s and stuff when the nuclear bombs were being tested, or even earlier that into the 40s, basically, that's when alien and UFO sightings like shot through the roof, and like a lot of actual what I would consider to be kind of credible stories, have come out. Definitely very interesting. Do you think that if we were going to get some kind of like contact with the other side, do you think it's going to be little green men coming off a ship, or the idea of interdimensional beings has been opened up to my head and I'm fascinated by it and I don't understand?
I mean, I don't know. I always thought, I mean, to be clear, aliens are real.
Well,
but
fucking duh.
I always felt like the cartoony, like the depiction that we usually see is probably just, made up just because it looks like, these little creatures with big heads. But I think also those representations are somewhat based in evidence. So I don't know. But I also feel like, what is that movie with the with Arrival? Have you seen Arrival?
Is that when they're trying to communicate through the thing?
And they're all like cephalopods.
Yeah. Oh.
It could be something like, but also not all aliens are the same. They're coming from tons of different planets. So maybe there's some little green men.
Unimaginable amount of variety of, living organisms or whatever.
Yeah. But also, I think that some could be living amongst us already. There could be like very human-looking ones, or maybe they can shapeshift.
Now we're getting into it. See, I've been kind of looking into this theory of like interdimensional beings, in the sense that we experience everything on like 3 dimensions or something like that, according to this thing that like I'm totally speaking off topic and I know nothing about.
Yeah.
But apparently there's like if you like enter into like a like a 4th or 5th dimension. Then you basically don't operate on the same plane as like we do and stuff like that, where we're kind of stuck to like time in a linear sense.
Gotcha.
Right? So if and is that time travel, or am I speaking like way out of my league? Like basically what I've been doing for the past 3 days is just getting high, listening to Operation Ivy, and doing my regular research.
Yeah.
that I've been, so diligent about for the past years. But it's something that I had to interrupt this episode to bring up because.
Well, I think it's very relevant.
Is it? Oh, okay. Because if you're gonna look at me and tell me that Tim Armstrong is not from another fucking another planet, you got another thing coming. Yeah. I mean, Timmy the Turtle.
And certainly, like, artists are in touch with maybe not so much another dimension, but another level of consciousness that not everyone can operate on that plane either.
I think that the man is so incredibly prolific that would not surprise me at all. And if all he did was to come down here just to provide, you know what I mean, us with a good rollicking time, just to try to get through, this to
play some ska.
Yeah, this painful life, right? Like, what if if it turns out that is the existence of alien life on Earth, then that's why you write a fucking song like Sound System. That's why Rancid has songs like Radio. Last night I almost cried. I was passionately telling you that I just like songs about liking songs. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was a revelation that I came to that I never really thought about, but it's something that I think is incredibly important, what I mean, in today and stuff. And so when, on an album like this where you're going to take the time to, there's songs about basically everything, like, with knowledge, like all I know is that I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
That's where like Deceptively Simple comes in. You know what I mean? To have like the wherewithal at 20 years old, especially in this kind of genre it's aggressive, it's fast paced, it's fuck you, I know better, cops don't know shit, my parents don't know shit, angry kids, the youth of today, right? Runaways and whatever, find each other, make a couple songs in a garage. Like I wonder if this was, if the idea for when they're making these things is to do anything more than to just play shows with their friends.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, definitely to record an album and release it and get to tour and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But like, do you think like, I mean, the impact of that is going to be, what it's going to be? I think that the reason that it is because it's so goddamn true, like so truthful and so like self-aware.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a skill to being able to describe a universal feeling very simply, and you hear it and it sounds really you hear it and you're like, well, yeah, but
totally.
It's difficult to actually put it into words, and that's what makes it resonate so much when you hear something, as simple as all I know is that I don't know nothing.
Totally. It's one of those things that, like, I grew up in the woods, so when I would come down here to visit my dad down here would be Vancouver for any context. When I would come down here, I'm going to a show kind of like with my dad, right? So like I'm not there with my friends. Like you can look around and all these kids with mohawks, they're getting drunk and they've been looking, forward to this for just as long as I have, but they've been, they're kind of coming at it from, another direction, right? I'm still just a kid. I go into that same pit, not know anybody there, and I'm covered in the same beer and piss and sweat and whatever by the time that you're, when you're leaving there and shit. And I got my arms around these people and they're, you make friends at those shows. Some of them are still, friends to this very day.
Yeah.
The frame is a little bit, out of whack here, but I took that love for, Operation Ivy, Rancid as a band, like, Tim Armstrong and everything that he's done, Out Come the Wolves is a Rancid album, one of the best of all time. It's like 1990. It's one of their, quintessential albums, I think, right? Life Won't Wait for my money, but let's keep the party moving. At the 25th anniversary of that show, they played it in Vegas at Punk Rock Bowling, right? So I go down there with my friends, and I meet, a group of kids from San Francisco that they're in their own band and stuff like that. They brought me down to the Bay Area, and I've had the chance to, spend time in here and kind of like, like a pilgrimage to Mecca, if you will, for the retarded little, drunk kid that loves punk rock music or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? An incredibly important experience for me, right? Yeah. So like, and then even, get in the van and kind of tour around with them and get to see them play and meet all the people that, they've introduced me, in the towns that, I've been lucky enough to go with them. It just is that, there's something about this style of music and this community that I've never had to pay for like a hotel in a lot of different places that I've been, because just based off the fact that, you're a good person, you're with these people, like we're all, kind of in this together, so let's sleep on the floor and have a place to party. And, that's unity, baby.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what people love about music so much in general, or just like any form of writing. It's all just about, truth telling, and, that's really powerful and resonates with a lot of people. And that's why people will fill stadiums to watch bands, and even though you're with
Absolutely.
like thousands of other people, it still feels like a very intimate experience because you're
Definitely.
all relating
Yeah.
to this one thing. And I think that's what like that's why I like writing so much, and it's
Totally.
the same with stand up. And that's why, when you hear music or comedians or whatever that are shitty, it's because they're not really saying anything.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah,
making
absolutely.
noise.
Totally.
And you can tell the difference between someone who actually loves to do it and like needs to do it because they
Yeah.
need to get this off their chest
Totally.
or whatever, versus someone who's just doing it because they want to be a musician.
Yeah.
They want to be a comedian.
Yeah, you can really
whatever.
tell that like when it comes from the truest form, that person that's doing it is going to do it regardless.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's like I think they're really similar, actually, music and comedy. And it's just two different ways of sort of getting at the same result. Whereas where you're a musician, you're making something that people can dance to or whatever and sing along. Whereas when you're a comedian, you say something that everyone has thought about before, and then the way that you say it, it's like almost, it's so ridiculous to acknowledge this that it's funny because it's like almost uncomfortable.
Well, it's weird. There's something like visceral about it. Like I love dark humor because like there's something very dark, and when you turn that corner, everybody can kind of sit in that same place together, and we can all breathe that collective sigh of relief, like we're all just as fucked up, or whatever.
Yeah,
that you find that
exactly.
funny. But on the other side of that coin, you can do like what Seinfeld does and talk about, like, what I mean. He'll have a bit of the gunk around the top of the toothpaste that is so perfect and so there. It's the same thing, right?
The
It's
whole
the exact
time you're like,
same
that's
thing.
so true. That's so true.
Totally.
Like,
And I think when it's done well, or the stuff that I definitely gravitate towards is that the straightforward and simple approach, right?
Yeah.
Like I own a guitar, but I'm never gonna learn a Rush song or probably be able to play one. I'm just doing too much other shit with my day, right? With something, with something like this, like this was the reason I can gravitate towards that or whatever. Like play those 3 chords, play that little thing, have fun. You can kind of smash around a little bit and get on with your day. But there's like that deceptively simple, like Stephen Wright or like Anthony Jeselnik, Mitch Hedberg, or something like that. Like those jokes are, like if you pull a word out of there, it doesn't work anymore. You know what I mean? It's completely simple, and it's deceptively simple, but like perfect as it is.
yeah.
Operation Ivy song, 90 seconds. You know what I mean? Coming in and out, and you have, so much that you're basically going to do. Okay, we're going to take down the government here. We're going to talk about police. We're still going to have a cool groove that people are going to dance to, and we're going to get out of here in 90 fucking seconds. Watch us work. You know what I mean? That's incredible.
Yeah.
But just coming from like the realest place, right?
Yeah.
Because if you go to this area, and I mean I was there in 2010s, you know what I mean? I've done there 5 or 6 times over the course of a few years. This is in 1986, 87, right? When they're singing songs about junkies running dry and all that stuff, like down there, like that. That area is fucking wild today. You know what I mean? And so I mean, imagining what it was like, then for them to, to come with that, with an attitude. This record is so goddamn raw and so goddamn positive at the same time. Like I can't walk away from it without smiling. And saying like, fuck everybody and fuck everything except for, but like us over here,
Yeah.
you feel like you're on the team or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can like look past that thing. Where, is there any like equal like forms of rebellion or anything like that you've, I think, is that like a big difference between us, I think, with with like our personalities, maybe even the upbringing or anything like that? Is there any time where you're just like, fuck this, like I need something, some art or whatever that to help me, push through that and kick a fucking door down or do something that that you have to? Have you ever had that tension bubbling in any art to to kind of guide you through it?
I mean, yes. I don't know if it's if the instinct was ever to rebel so much for me. But yeah, I mean, like I always loved music as a kid. I would always turn to that. But I don't know. I think I think mostly from a very young age, when I would ever start feeling like overwhelmed or anything like that, I would just turn to substances.
Well, yeah, ideally.
And that was like my form of rebelling, really.
Fair enough. So like, is it kind of like a get high and cut off kind of thing, like Shadow of the World or whatever? Okay.
Yeah.
That's why you like
Turn
that.
the
That's why
brain
you like
off.
acid rock and all the
Yeah,
and all the grooves like that.
Exactly.
For anybody watching next week, Jackie's going to show me Electric Ladyland.
Yeah,
with
Jimi
Jimi
Hendrix.
So
Electric Ladyland.
that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
A lot of the rock and roll
imagine
that I
me-
like is very fucking straightforward and very fast. So it's gonna be fun to get me to listen to like 40 guitar licks and solos and shit. And we're gonna sit through. I'm loving it. I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
But
And we're back, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Show Me Yours,
C.
Part C. Yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna put it all together. We just have to make sure that we're ironing out all the odds and ends. My computer is back up and running, and I don't know. We'll resort to it if we need it.
Mm-hmm.
But Jackie, I think that something about this record that is so perfect is like of a time capsule. That makes it kind of interesting to me is that this whole record basically screams about, you know what I mean, kind of like fuck the mainstream culture, while like, you know, pounding forward like social justice. You know what I mean? This is a record that the kids today, you know, we would definitely, you know, completely fall in line with, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is do you think it's like the style or is there an opportunity for something like this to resurface and maybe give some annoying kids something better to listen to?
Well, I feel like there's still tons of, you know, things like this out there that kids turn to.
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
Still churning out.
They're still turning in, they're still selling Operation Ivy back patches and shit. You're still gonna see a 15-year-old kid who's gonna sew this on with dental floss and you know what I mean. And I hope that you know, they go down the down the road of punk rock.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting to see that you know, the culture today is looking around like, you know, everything is an issue. We gotta and absolutely right. We have to, you know, change some shit around, right, and make life a lot easier for some people that are, you know, that don't have it as easy as the rest of us. But it's interesting in the sense like when kids are bringing it up now, because they're kind of at the forefront, right? They're the ones getting shot in schools and shit. Like they should definitely be the ones talking about it. And the reaction from their parents is, or like, you know what I mean, the adults is almost ridiculous, right? They're like, you kids don't know what you're talking about, right? And then they're screaming like, why the fuck is anybody talking about this? Completely unaware almost that like people have been yelling for change for years and far before Operation Ivy too, you know what I mean, right? Like the problems of the past just kind of like, you know, mimic themselves in different
and I do think every generation probably has a tendency to think that they're the first ones saying something or talking about something, or they're the first ones who have felt this way, when really you know, history just repeats itself over and over and over again.
That's a lesson to all the listeners. Talk to other people. You're not that special, and you know, there's a good chance that what you're going through,
someone's probably thought it before.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Relax.
Special.
Yeah. You're not brilliant. We're brilliant. Corey and Trevor,
I mean,
brilliant. You know what I mean? But
us excluded, obviously.
Clearly. Duh. Yeah. That's why we're shining the light in my bedroom, in my apartment.
Yeah.
And rocking this up. But yeah, I think that I'm very much like kind of guilty of that. It took me a long time to you know, to learn that it's really easy to, you know, to come full circle, you know, once you've been enlightened and talk about how everybody else is dumb. But I'm from the woods, you know what I mean, and I would spend a lot of time grounded with you know, my mom was a strict disciplinarian, and I was a wild young boy, you know, getting arrested and getting in trouble with the law and whatnot. So the only thing that she didn't do was take away my CDs, right? So I would sit in my room, and I couldn't talk on the phone, I couldn't go out anywhere and whatever, right? This was really, you know, low form of lockdown. Thank God I'm from Canada and not America, or else I would have actually probably been incarcerated, and then I wouldn't have any fucking CDs. That's just another reason why we're happy to be where we're from. But you know what I mean? These are it's funny because the music that, you know, that you listen to, especially in like young formative years, kind of really like inspires, I think, like your personality, you know, through the rest of the days. And I'm just fucking happy that I found, you know, I fell into like a pool of of a genre that I could at least like, you know, be proud to look back on. Cause there's some shit that I was definitely listening to that, you know, we're not going to look at those pictures. We're not going to bring that up.
Yeah.
You'll see on the Instagram page, I'll post a lot of silly stuff that I've collected over the years as far as music's concerned. But yeah, this is that one that I can kind of like hang my hat on and go like, well, you know what I mean? For a kid that made a lot of bad decisions, this one was probably, you know, decent.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, I've thought about this a lot, just like thinking about things that I was like into as a teenager and stuff. I don't even really think I had a personality.
Interesting. Did you take anything like from your teenage years like to now? Because I have to shed a lot of my stuff. Like I have to remember like you're fucking 30 now, man. So some of this stuff, I mean, I'm still like into skateboarding and punk rock as much as I was, you know what I mean, as a kid, or like even like hip hop a lot too. Like, you know what I mean? I'm still thinking of funny things to rhyme, but like that all started in that thing, and I'm like taking that to my adult life. Like, do you have anything like that?
Well, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of music that I was listening to that I still do. You know, a lot of my dad's music and stuff like that. But for the most part, I don't even know. I think it's because I just didn't have any time. I was always like a really busy kid. Ever since I was like 5, I always had stuff going on after school.
Oh shit.
And then when I went to high school, it was a private boarding school, so I was there like 12 hours a day at least. And so I really didn't have a lot of my own free time, and so it wasn't until
like on the woods on the island too. Like I think
yeah,
geographically speaking, like you couldn't like like we're like the city latchkey kids that would just kind of run around and get into trouble, but like that's because the trouble was there, right?
Yeah, and I think in high school, I think because it was such like an insulated community, your interests were just like what everyone else in the school was interested in. Like it was such a bubble.
Yeah. But there wasn't like different cliques of like, you know, that's like the jocks and the skaters and the punk or whatever. Like it was my my high school was a fucking cliche like, 90s or early 2000s high school or not another teen movie kind of thing like that.
Yeah, no, there were
or maybe that's just the way I remember it.
There were like I mean, I wouldn't say there were a lot of cliques. There were like the Asians.
Jesus.
Everyone else.
My God. I'm from the woods. Like I'm from the interior. There was not. I think there was.
Well, because
shout out to like the 1 or 2 Asian students that were in. I mean, we didn't give them a hard time or anything.
Well, yeah, no. I'm not saying
Jesus, Jackie, what are you saying here?
I'm just saying there
Hashtag
were a
Stop
lot
Asian
of
Hate. We believe that on Show Me Yours podcast.
Yeah, we can cut that. We can cut this.
No, this is staying in. Careful.
Now's not the time.
No, I think but it's interesting to know, right?
But I just mean like in terms of people that hung out with individual groups, because there were a lot of Asians at our school because it was popular overseas, and so they would speak like their own language to each
other. Yeah.
You
fucking dug yourself out of that hole, Jax. Nice work. Fuck yeah. Totally thought I was gonna be the first one going down on this.
But yeah, it wasn't, you know, it was not a typical high school at all. And so I don't think I really started developing like my own personality and figuring out what I really liked until I went to university. And those were really like, for me, more formative years than like in high school at all.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, the boarding school, like it's kind of, it seems insulated. Like where's the room for you to find your own thing?
Like is not only encouraged, but everyone is forced to sort of do the same thing, wear the same thing.
Fuck, you needed Operation Ivy in your life.
Yeah. There are a lot of rules to follow. That I guess that was when I was in high school. I did have a lot of moments where I would rebel against the rules because I felt like, since I wasn't a boarding student, and since I didn't live there, I felt like a lot of the rules shouldn't apply to me. But
wait, what is a board? So like, I understand what it is, but are people coming from like the Asian population in your school? Were their parents living in Asia and sending their kids there just to do the school?
Yeah.
And that's what. Oh shit.
Yeah.
So the majority of the students there stay there all the time.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fucking prison.
Yeah, well that's how I felt.
Wild.
I really didn't like it there.
And you lived down the fucking road?
Yeah, I lived about 20 minutes away.
Well, we drove. Okay.
Yeah,
that's the. beautiful facility.
Yeah.
It doesn't look my high school is what I was.
But yeah, I think that's kind of why when I look back on myself as a teenager, I just like didn't really, I don't know, I just didn't really have a lot of time, and I just didn't have a lot of that I can think of like defining characteristics. And I even remember like
interesting.
I
All
was
you know is that
such
you don't know nothing, right?
Yeah, I was such like an awkward kid. And I'm an awkward adult now.
Oh,
but,
yeah. Built for comedy.
Yeah. But I'd be so insecure, and I remember I would be talking. If anyone like asked me, I have this one specific memory of this girl, who I didn't know that well, and there was one time we were walking back from lunch together or something like that, and it was the first time we had like ever really spoken.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, so like, you know, tell me about yourself." And I was like, I don't know.
That's it?
And I was like, I'm not that interesting. And she was like, okay.
Oh, no. That's wild.
Yeah.
If ever given the opportunity, because I was definitely an outgoing little youngster. Yeah. I always wanted to tell people about me. I'd make shit up. I would tell you all kinds of crazy shit. Anything you wanted to know that would keep you around. Oh, that's crazy. That's incredibly self-aware. It's crazy to think that, you know, like looking back, like where do you think was the, was the thing? Was there, you know what I mean? You went to university in Montreal, so was there like a poutine ecstasy kind of, you know, away from home moment or?
Well, I remember getting to university and being really nervous because I was moving, like I'd never lived off the island, and now I was moving across the country to like a big city.
Yeah.
And I remember like the first week of classes, going to class and then going back to my dorm and being like, what do I do? This is my time. I can do whatever I want with this. Oh my God. Holy
Jesus Christ.
And so for me, university felt a lot easier in a lot of ways than high school, because I had so much free time that I'd never had before in my life. And
so you started smoking weed?
Well, that started long before.
Oh, no shit. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, and so I, you know, started partying a lot. Yeah, we started doing a lot of drugs.
Get a little close.
And yeah, I think you know, it was the first time ever really just being fully independent and just being able to do whatever I wanted.
Hell yeah, and you're in fucking Montreal too.
Yeah.
I imagine like that's like it's from the woods, from where from where, like, I mean, a cool little island, island town or whatever. Now you're in the city, and
I remember doing like oh my God, when we first started doing MDMA, and just when you're in that like state, you're so excited and like holy shit, and then you just start saying like whatever's on your mind, and you know, it's like holy shit, like you can just say this stuff, like oh my God, I can just tell someone like, oh yeah, I like you a lot, like I like you a lot, you're great.
Fucking grinding my teeth, like I really fucking love you, man. Something about you. MDMA was never something that came around. Like we had pressed pill ecstasy, like when I was like started doing the drugs or whatever. Like now, I mean obviously like MDMA is around. Yeah. But yeah, when I started doing it, it was always like a toss up of like whatever color that you had, you didn't know like what else was in there.
Yeah. Well, we had ecstasy too, but MDMA was huge in Montreal in those years. I don't know if it still is, but everyone was doing MDMA.
Is that like is that a thing that you age out of? Like, I don't know, like there's like a 40-year-old MDMA head that's just like chilling, just
an MDMA
an M head just out there giving fucking hugs at the train station or something. Like, get the fuck away from me.
M head.
Yeah, right. I think you can sweat and like suck a soother until you're like 30 years old, and then you're done. Yeah,
and I also think after a point, well, what happened for me, because I was doing it so much from ages probably 19 to 21, I was doing it so much that eventually I just stopped really feeling the effects of it.
Oh yeah.
And
I
so
don't
I
know
think
if I
that
should speak out of
happens.
turn here, but when somebody was my brother would take fucking 8 or 9 at a time or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
wild,
We started
fucking
doing so much.
wild,
We'd
yeah.
like have the pills, and then we'd like do a line
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
just to like
Just to
get
keep
it
it going.
going.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Crush pill up and parachute him and shit like that. I mean, that was
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, the last time I did it was in Montreal before it was like a couple weeks before I moved back to the island, and my friend was visiting me, and we did MDMA. We did so much, and I just like didn't really feel it. I mean, looking back, I was definitely on MDMA.
I have the same thing. I told you we bought a bottle of rum a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I don't know, I could drink a whole bottle of Bacardi and not even get drunk, and that became the joke for the rest of the evening, because I couldn't fucking stand.
Yeah.
I was walking around there, but I just remember drinking a bottle of lemon Bacardi and fucking not. I was good.
I remember we like came back to my place to do more MDMA, and we did it, and my friend was like wanting to go back out.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's just stay here. I crawled into bed.
Cuddle puddle?
Yeah.
Fuck
no,
yeah.
literally
Oh.
just like sitting in bed. Me just like being like, I'm done. I don't want to go out and party more. I just want to do a bunch of MDMA and get in bed and do bong tokes.
Oh, that's when you know that you're going there. Is when the party drug is like, I don't want to fucking go to the party. Like, I'm just doing drugs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. At that point, that's when you gotta do it.
Yeah, and I had like strategically got us back to the apartment because I wanted to like just get back in bed, and I was like, yeah, we'll just do more and then we'll go back out.
You
so
jerk.
when we did more, and I was like, why don't we just like
you know what,
not?
guys? Maybe I'd be fucking choked if I would know too. I'd be like, you've been fucking bringing us back here for the past hour. You knew you were gonna do this. This is bullshit. I've never been that. Well, you know my personality. I always want to stay out, or like I always want to, stay up or stay out. Like MDMA was like, it was always fun, but like I also liked like hallucinogens and stuff like that. Like we were definitely tripping. But it's interesting to like, so if you're out there, like that's that. So when you're saying that you didn't have like any defining qualities or your own personality when you were a kid, you kind of still got to build your own. I was just thinking about that while you were saying that. It's like, if this is, something that like I like hang my hat on that hook or something, right? Like, so I had like a lot of, you know what I mean? A lot of personality or a lot of things or whatever that fucking weren't mine. You know what I mean? Like I was growing up in a small town. There wasn't a lot of punk rock kids. And when I would come back here, to visit my dad on the, summer or for Christmas or whatever, I would just come back and be like, fuck man, like there's this thing happening out there. It's, weirdos and stuff. Just like I'm trying to tell my friends. And I was, lucky enough to bring a few over to the dark side, and, shout out to Matt McDonnell and Robbie Elston. I love those guys, but you know what I mean? They're, I hung out with Matt a couple of years ago, the last time that I saw him at his wedding, we talked about this record for a fucking half an hour just because, you know what I mean? It's something that's like that we're so steeped in or whatever. Right. So I don't know, maybe it was like, it wasn't mine or something like that, but I think that like, it's important for, for young kids to find like a hook at least to latch onto until you find your own thing.
And I think that is,
but you still found your own thing regardless, right? So
yeah, but I think also how you find your own personalities, that you like try out different ones.
Oh,
I think
wore
everyone
many
does
hats.
that.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's probably a better way to say what I was like in high school, is that I just didn't really like, obviously who I like am has always been there, but I didn't really know who I was at the time. Obviously no one does when they're a teenager. And so
I told you that I fucking did.
Yeah.
Told you that Knowledge was my favorite song, and I told you I knew every fucking thing, not actually paying attention. I'm telling you guys, you got to check this record out. It's fucking really good.
But yeah, I would just try, take on other people's personalities around me. I would decide I would just like what they liked and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mimicked Martin. Did I ever tell you this story? I was doing like a little bit of work for this guy that he like owned all the like the apartment complexes and stuff that like my mom was living in, slumlord or whatever in town. So me and my friends would, we'd do little odd jobs for him and whatnot for cash. At one point we're moving this like massive piece of furniture out of this building, and it was me and two of my friends and this guy named Martin. And Martin was like, just like this English guy that was just there to help out. And we're lifting this thing. It's like, it's heavy, and we're trying to get it through this door. and Martin has to like adjust. So we're like, you know, get on this side. And he's like, Roy. And then I was just, as we're lifting this thing, I was just like, Roy. Immediately after he said it, I said it. And I was like, oh shit. Like, that was not cool. And we got out of there. And my friend Cash was like, fuck, man, did you just mock Martin? Like, he waited until we put the thing down, and I kind of like walked away a little bit. And he's like, that's fucking not cool, man. And I was like, I know. Like, I was so embarrassed. And I think Martin is like, fuck you, dude. Like, and I get it, but there's something about, yeah, theast I don't know. There's a mirroring you. Yeah, exactly. It was a compliment, right? I fucking think English people are cool as hell. At least I did.
Yeah.
So I did till I met Martin.
Dick.
Boy. On that note, fuck you, Martin.
Fucking cheerio.
Oh my god. Well, I think that we're just about there. Do you have any final thoughts on the album? We're just about approaching the 50-minute mark here. We're gonna land the plane.
Yeah. Final thoughts is I'm glad that I was introduced to this.
Jonny did good?
Yes.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good album. I liked it, you know, from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like listening to new things.
Well,
expanding the old mind nut.
Well, I'm glad that you're open to a little bit of shit for the concept of this show. If we're gonna be showing each other records and stuff, I don't listen to like a lot of like, you know, easy listening kind of stuff or whatever. So, yeah, this is the first one. We're gonna get a lot deeper down this fucking rabbit hole. It's gonna go deep. It's gonna go. Oh, I mean, I'm gonna try. Deep. I'm gonna try. I don't know. I'll hit the bottom sometime. I'm sure. I feel like I've hit rock bottom, but now I'm like, no, I can keep going.
It gets deeper.
Absolutely. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, like and subscribe and follow and all that bullshit. And
yeah, Show Me Yours podcast on Instagram, and presumably that's what it'll be on YouTube when we make a YouTube channel.
Yeah, we'll get around to it tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, Jax, let's get the fuck out of here.